All right, so I went through and I troubleshooted this. It looks like the issue I was having is that I didn't really set it up to organize multiple surfaces the way data needs to be passed through. I'm not going to bore you with all the details of it, but I do want to show you real quick that now with one surface, and as long as they're all the same kind of surface, right, planar surfaces, you can right click on surface and say set multiple surfaces. So you pick this one, that one, and I just kind of put another one out here at an odd angle and hit OK. And it should take a while to, oh great, another one. I just had it working. Hang on. Okay, so we are back in action. It looks like I had, the same problem just compounded with the third surface. But anyway, let me save this real fast and return back to the definition as soon as it saves. All right, we are in business. All right, so now, like I said, all you have to do is just add multiple surfaces, and it'll read the orientation of the surface, and it will do the extrusions in the direction that that surface is facing. Oops. Oh, great. Now it's going to recalculate again. The same thing it already has. Okay. What? What? Are you kidding? What? 1, 2, 3. Maybe it just didn't recompute. Let's give it a moment. All right, so now it seems to be working right. I guess it just didn't recompute when I turned it off and on again. Now, what you should know is that the number of subdivisions are going to be the same for every surface that you assign to that particular one. So if you need to have a different configuration for, like one of the other types, so if I have one low horizontal one and I like that, but then I want to, change the spacing of this one, I need to create a second one. So, and I showed you how to do that previously, but here I want to quickly go into what happens when you actually need to bring it out into your model. And also highlight the fact that you definitely still have your mullions as one system, and you have a glazing element as a second system. All right, so let's talk about baking this out. You need to bake it into a particular layer, and that layer, I don't know if it'll allow you, I don't recall if it allows you to create a layer when you bake. User text, key value, no. I guess not. I guess you, can you just, yeah. I thought you could actually create one when you bake, but anyway, let's just create a bake layer here. So my first new layer, I like to, when I'm doing this kind of stuff, I like to just create like just like a housing for that element, but one that I can easily delete if I need to. So just designate it as like a GH mullion, and then another one GH glazing. So that way, and I'm particularly pointing to the glazing element right now, you don't want to have a layer that's called glazing and another layer that's called glazing, and then you don't know which layer is the one that you referenced into Grasshopper to create geometry or the one that you used Grasshopper to create. So with those two, now in the model, and I'm going to make these cool colors, so I'll do a light gray for the mullion, and I'm going to do cyan for the glazing. It really is as simple as this. When you have your B-rep, right, so you click it and you can see which one it is. Or if you are so inclined, you can actually change how this reads. I know right here it says mul breps. I'm not going to show you how to change that one, but if you really want to call this one a particular set name, you can right click it like this and call this one, I don't know, if these are all east facing. You can call them east curtain wall. Oh, and I would suggest, say, mullions. And then you can call this one east curtain wall glazing. Something like that, if you so choose. I'm just trying to give you options for how you can manage this stuff and keep, you know, if you have different sets, you're probably going to want to have them labeled a certain way. So now we right click on the east curtain wall mullions, or whatever you called it, and you go to bake. So those new layers will show up here, and you can go in and just call GH mullion and hit OK. And that shows up there. You can, at this point, it probably makes sense to click on that one and turn it off so you can really see the geometry. And then you go into this one right here and right click, go to bake, and just set it to GH glazing, and that comes out that way. And feel free to turn that one off as well. So now you have your glazing elements fully modeled and ready to go. Whoops. I keep making mistakes today. There we go. All right. So, what questions do you have about? And I'm going to save this file on the drive for you in its proper form and functioning form. But outside of that, what questions do you have about generating this, getting it into Rhino, and essentially after this point, you're ready to render with it? No questions.
I can't get the mullions.
Can't get the mullions? Okay. I'll come troubleshoot with you. And do me a favor, all of you, when I save this, just delete your old one and put this new one in there, or just open up the new one and just reference your surfaces with this. The hard part's creating the surfaces, so the Grasshopper thing should take 2 seconds.